G'day grade 10. Let's hear and see what each of these novels is like. We're going to look at Witness, Animal Farm, The Great Gatsby, and Of Mice and Men. First of all, we have The Great Gatsby. When the jazz history of the world was over, girls were putting their heads on men's shoulders, swooning backward playfully into men's arms. But no one swooned backwards on Gatsby, and no French bob touched Gatsby's shoulder. No singing quartets were formed with Gatsby's head for one link. If personality is an unbroken series of successful gestures, then there was something gorgeous about him, some heightened sensitivity to the promises of life. Gatsby had an extraordinary gift for hope, a romantic readiness such as I have never found in any other person, and which it is not likely I shall ever find again. Now we have Of Mice and Men. Lenny rolled off the bunk and stood up, and two of them started for the door. Just as they reached it, Curly bounced in. "You seen a girl around here?" he demanded angrily. George said coldly, "About half an hour ago, perhaps." "Well, what the hell was she doing?" George stood still, watching the angry little man. He said insultingly, "She said she was looking for you." Curly seemed to see George for the first time. His eyes flashed over George, took in his height, measured his reach, looked at his trim middle. "Well, which way she go?" he demanded at last. "I don't know," said George. "I didn't watch her go." Curly scowled at him and, turning, hurried out the door. George said, "You know, Lenny, I'm scared I'm going to tangle with that bastard myself. I hate his guts. Jesus Christ, come on. There won't be a damn thing left to eat." Quite a lot of that thing goes on in Of Mice and Men. Okay, now we have Witness by Karen Hess. This is a verse novel, really easy to read. It's in the form of poetry, and the novel tells you who is speaking at any one time. It's quite easy to follow. Set in Vermont. Act 1. Leonora Sutter. "I don't know how Miss Harvey talked me into dancing in the Fountain of Youth. I don't know how she knew I danced at all, unless once, a long time ago, my mama told her so. But she did talk me into dancing. I leapt and swept my way through the Fountain of Youth, separated on the stage from all those limb-tight white girls, the ones who wouldn't dance with a Negro. They went home in a huff that first day, but some came back. They told Miss Harvey they'd dance, but they wouldn't dance or touch any brown-skinned girl. Only the little girl from New York, Esther, that funny-talking kid, only Esther didn't mind about me being coloured." Merlin Bonton Hout. "I pushed the window up in school to get the stink of Leonora Sutter out of the classroom when Miss Harvey brought her to show off a dance from last week's recital. Mr. Caldwell chuffed his arms, faked a shiver, ramped the sash back down, saying the day was too cold to leave a window open. Leonora Sutter turned and stared through me. That witchy girl with those fuming eyes. She meant to put a curse on me. She meant to. I left school right then. No amount of air will get the smell of her out of my nose, the soot out of my eyes." Lastly, we have Animal Farm, and this is a regular story in the form of a fable. Mr. Jones of the Manor Farm had locked the hen houses for the night, but was too drunk to remember to shut the pop holes. With a ring of light from his lantern dancing from side to side, he lurched across the yard, kicking off his boots at the back door, drew himself a last glass of beer from the barrel in the scullery, and made his way up to bed, where Mrs. Jones was already snoring. As soon as the bedroom went out, there was a stirring and a fluttering all through the farm buildings. Word had gone round during the day that old Major, the prize middle white boar, had had a strange dream on the previous night, and wished to communicate it to the other animals. It had been agreed that they would all meet in the big barn as soon as Mr. Jones was safely out of the way. Old Major, so he was always called, though the name under which he had been exhibited was Willingdon Beauty, was so highly regarded on the farm that everyone was quite ready to lose an hour's sleep in order to hear what he had to say. At one end of the big barn, on a sort of raised platform, Major was already ensconced on his bed of straw, under a lantern which hung from a beam. He was 12 years old, and he had lately grown rather stout, but he was still a majestic-looking pig, with a wise and benevolent appearance, in spite of the fact that his tushes had never been cut long before the other animals began to arrive and make themselves comfortable after their different fashions. First came the 3 dogs, Bluebell, Jessie and Pincher, and then the pigs, who settled down in the straw immediately in front of the platform.